Good evening, Canterbury. I'm Mike Yardley. Welcome to Newsmakers, where we debate the week's issues through Canterbury eyes. It's a pleasure to introduce our panel: National MP Nicky Wagner, Labour candidate for Wigram, Megan Woods, and Lane Neave lawyer Duncan Webb. Thank you very much for joining us.
It's good to be here.
We are going to start with the comings and goings from the corridors of power. The fireworks within the ACT party continue to crackle. David Garrett has finally resigned after a week's garden leave, but will the entry of Hilary Calvert into the bear pit help or hurt Rodney Hyde? Duncan, how do you see this playing out?
Well, ACT's just a mess at the moment, isn't it? I just can't see that it's really got much hope. Whoever they could bring in Bill Clinton. I think not that that's likely. I don't think it would do much good. I mean, Garrett was in the papers a lot, but for all the wrong reasons. Extreme views and an extreme person, and he's done an enormous amount of harm to that party. I can't see that it can get much worse than this.
Is National pleased that David Garrett resigned?
Well, I think the public is pleased that there's an end to it, simply because they like to see MPs doing their job, which is running the country. And I think the Chris Carter issue has sort of brought it to a head as well. And you've got to consider that both these situations are quite different, because under MMP, David has to go because he's there by the grace of the party, whereas Chris Carter can remain because he says he's voted in by the people of Te Atatu.
If David Garrett had refused to resign, though, is there any legislative power to expunge him at the moment?
No, there isn't, because the waka hopping legislation has actually had a sunset clause and it's gone.
Yeah. Do you believe this is the beginning of the end of ACT, or is Rodney Hyde key to the whole long-term equation?
Well, I think one of the most damaging things around the whole Garrett issue is its glass houses and stones, that it is someone that came out so strongly around law and order and around justice, who then was found to be being a hypocrite around things. And I think that's what people are going to find very difficult to stomach. I think it's going to be very difficult for ACT to come back from this, because it's one of their core planks as a party.
I mean, there's a question about credibility of the party as a whole, because if you select someone like that, and they all knew, and yet they went right ahead with it, and is that a party you want to vote for? And of course this all rests on Epsom, and is it appropriate that there's an MP like Rodney Hyde who makes those kinds of decisions, who's an electorate MP? And if you can't get Epsom, it's highly unlikely.
John Key indicated to me on radio probably 2 months ago now that he felt that National would probably give Rodney Hyde a clean run in Epsom next year. Is that under review?
I think everything's under review. I mean, small parties come and go. That's the nature of MMP. And if the public doesn't like it, they've got a chance to talk about MMP at the next election when there's going to be a referendum. What
about New Zealand First? They must be loving this. Is there an opportunity here for them?
Epsom, maybe. I mean, Winston's one of those perennial phoenixes of New Zealand politics, isn't he? That you can never say Winston's out till the ashes are well and truly dampened down. Who knows? I would never make a call on that one.
Who's stamping on them?
Yeah, who's stamping on them?
Now, meanwhile, as Nicky referred to, the Labour Party is also wrestling with an internal power struggle. And yesterday, Chris Carter seemed to be taking the stance that he is a Labour MP. Phil Goff says he's not. When is the Labour Party actually going to expel this freeloader once and for all, Megan?
Well, it's, as Nicky said, that it's a very different situation from David Garrett, because Chris is an electorate MP. He was elected by the people of Te Atatu. So the situation is that Chris is no longer in the Labour caucus, but he is still a member of the Labour Party.
That's ridiculous, isn't it?
Well, there's a complaints procedure that needs to be worked through, and this is something that is worked through at a party, not a parliamentary level, that Andrew Little is dealing with. And really, I mean, I'm comfortable with the fact that there has to be a sense of natural justice that needs to be worked through.
All right.
Of course, there is a penalty if you don't come to Parliament. You lose $10 a day of your salary.
Seriously?
Seriously.
$10 a day?
And yesterday was the last day that he had leave, that he had to come back or he'd start losing his $10 a day. And I believe he's now got a sickness note.
Well, how long can a man be sick when he looks so fighting fit?
And goes to the gym every day.
Exactly. Now, this whole bizzo started, what, in July? It's now October. When is the party going to get rid of it?
I think, you know, standing aside and not being an aspirant MP or an MP myself, look, Chris was a good MP for a long time. He was part of the last government and he had some important positions there and he worked hard. I didn't agree with everything he did, but he certainly worked hard and did some great work. But I think the writing's on the wall for his parliamentary career, and it'd be great if he could just focus on what he can do next, because he's still got a lot of talent.
Do you think he should serve out the term as an independent MP? Is that morally OK with you, Nicky?
Well, it's his choice as far as the legislation says. That's his choice. I'd be interested in what the people of Te Atahu had to say about that.
Doesn't he have an obligation to serve them until the next election? I mean, they didn't choose someone else, they chose him. And the role of an elected MP, and I'd be, you know, obviously others know this as well, is to serve people. It's to be there and do constituency work and to hear their gripes and help them through their troubles. And he does that very well. And so perhaps there's a really good argument that he should just stick around, regardless of his parliamentary duties, and do his constituency duties. That's a good part of an elected MP's role.
His partner is the electorate chair, is that right?
Yes.
So it's all quite a nice, snug arrangement, isn't it?
Well, I mean, as with all political parties, there's processes that need to be gone through. And I mean, selection processes in the Labour Party, and I imagine it's the same in the National Party, are actually democratic processes. It doesn't come down to one person being the chair and making the decision. So I think really, I mean, it's very easy to have very knee-jerk reactions to these kind of situations, but I think that it's really important that it's done properly.
All right, we'll take a break. One other electorate to look at shortly, Wigram. What a week for Megan Woods. We'll have a look at the changing of the guard in Wigram and plenty of other issues ahead. Do stay with us.